Welcome back to another episode here at Ground Zero, where we buy cars and we flip them for a profit. In today's episode, we'll be talking about this 2005 Honda Civic, and this thing has 176,000 miles. It's a 2005. When I was looking at this thing at the auction, I just looked at the exterior of it because I couldn't find the keys. So the next day, I ended up buying it. I went back to the car and I started looking a little bit more in depth throughout the car to see if I could find the keys. And it turns out the keys were actually underneath the driver's seat. So I grabbed the keys and I started it up. So as you can tell, this front bumper, this thing needs some work. It looks like, I don't know, somebody took some primer to it and just sprayed primer. That's all that they did. So I don't know, we'll do something about this bumper. We'll gotta fix this right here. We'll do something about these headlights, get that all good. Right now we're gonna get the inside all detailed up, vacuumed up, cleaned out, and vacuumed, detailed, shampooed, all of that. So I'm gonna grab this guy out. This was a plate that was on it. This car was from Arkansas. So with that being said, why don't I put you guys on a time lapse and we'll bend this hood right here because it's a little high on both sides, and we'll roll that footage right now. So let's get into it. Hopped in the Honda Civic and we're gonna be driving this guy back right now. I had to take off the plate, which is an Arkansas plate, but the thing drives pretty good. No weird noises with the struts. Transmission shifts fine. I didn't even start this before when I bid on it. I didn't know where the keys were, and then I found the keys underneath this seat right here, which was good because then I didn't have to tell the auction that there wasn't any keys. So I found the keys, started it up, and realized that I had check engine light, the exhaust leak, and a few other little things here and there. And you guys saw the body too as well. So why don't we get this thing back to the warehouse? After we get it back, we'll probably end up starting on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go pick up lunch for us, a taco dinner. So we're gonna get 3 tacos, some refried beans, and some rice. At 4 o'clock when he gets there, I'll have the food for him and for me, and then we'll eat, we'll have some energy, and we'll get going detailing this and cleaning up little things here and there on the body. So with that said, I'll see you guys at the warehouse here shortly. Now that we straightened out that hood a little bit better, sits a little bit more flush on the fenders, what we're gonna do now is probably move on to buffing out these headlights. I don't think I'm gonna wet sand them. I'm probably gonna hit it with a buffer first and see if it comes out. If it doesn't and it still looks kind of yellowish, I'll wet sand it and then buff that out. So then after this, what we're gonna do, or before, is come around, take all these stickers off. We'll take all those off, clean it all up. As you can tell, Field's Lexus. So from a bigger dealer I buy from. I'm not gonna buy from a smaller dealer because why are they sending a car through the auction if they're in the business to sell cars? There's probably gonna be an issue with it. You know, there's a reason why they're doing that. So we'll end up doing that. And then after we're done with that, we'll see what's going on next. Maybe I'll pop off the hubcaps. So let me set you guys up on a time lapse right now. Let's knock out those stickers, buff out these headlights, and then we'll get this thing going. When I was coming back from Odessa with this Civic, I stopped at the gas station. I got myself that Red Bull and a bag of Gardettos. If you guys ever had Gardettos, they're pretty good, and if you haven't, you should get a bag and try them. But On the way back, when I was at the gas station, I paid in cash and he gave me back a $50, so 50 cents. I asked him if he had any more of them, and he had about 8 more. So I ended up buying these from him. So add it to the collection. It's kind of cool to have. You know, maybe later on when I have kids, give it to my kids or something. You never know. So with that being said, why don't we get going on this thing? I had to go over this thing multiple times to get it like this, which it still has a slight haze. And I don't know why I can't get it out anymore, but I'm gonna end up leaving it like this with a slight haze in it. Slight fog, sort of say. But this one came out a whole lot better, and I did the same technique. So I don't know what's going on with it. I think this thing is fogged up from the inside, I'm pretty sure. So that's gonna be the end with those guys, and you could tell that one's a little off than this one, which is weird because you would have thought that one would have had an X. Actually, you know what? That's what it was. The seal probably broke in it from this accident, from this little thing here. It probably split somewhere in here, and the inside of it was starting to get weathered. So that's the best that I'm gonna get it. Let's move on to doing this grill while he's still detailing. This thing was pretty dirty. This is how it's looking so far. You think we're halfway through? Benito? You think we're halfway through? Maybe, yeah. So about halfway through. Got a little bit more work to go. So I'm gonna throw you guys back on the time lapse. I'm gonna take these guys off right here. Actually, we just go around doing that right now. There's one. Here's the second one. They just pull right off. I think somebody either plasti dipped it or they just sprayed them black. What's nice about these is it's not underneath the lug nuts. Like, I hate the hubcaps where you have to undo the lug nuts. You gotta undo the lug nuts before you could even get the hubcap off. So now that those guys are off, why don't we do the grill right now? We'll do the grill, and then after the grill, we'll probably end up doing this back here, I think. Something with this guy right here. We'll figure something out. It's kind of a weird area. So, and I don't know what's going on with this. This is a high spot. So let's get going into that. And then, yeah, so 3 guys on our time lapse and let's get going on that. What I'm gonna do is try and paint these guys. I was gonna get new hubcaps, but I don't know. Let's try to wipe them down. Let's just wipe them down, and then we'll just take a rattle can, a spray can, and see if we could just paint these guys. It's gonna take a lot to coat though. That's what I'm concerned about. So why don't we get this done and see how they turn out. We're gonna start off by using some wax and grease remover to clean this up. This finish is really scuffed up as it is, so I'm not gonna go through it with the Scotch-Brite. I think the paint will adhere to this pretty good. So we'll take this wax and grease remover, throw it on this rag. It's a clean rag. It's just, I use it to dry my hands. So we'll throw that on this rag. We'll go through it real quick, get all the dirt, whatever, clean it up. And then after that, we'll set it up here. And I'm gonna use just a different kind of silver first, because I don't have a whole lot of this. So I'm gonna use this one to coat it as much as possible, and this will be the final touch. With that said, let's dive right into this and see what the results is gonna look like. Let's go. So I didn't think it was gonna turn out this good, which it was Benito's idea. But look at that, I mean, it's good for what it is. I mean, instead of going to Walmart, wasting time going there and spending $20-something, I had a spray can, so it's not too bad. So let's get the other 3 cleaned. Let's get the other 3 cleaned up and then sprayed. Put this guy on the side and let it dry. We got the hubcaps painted. That looks better than the black ones that was on there before. And these are actually from Walmart too. But check it out. It's coming along little by little. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take off this 10mm bolt right here. We're gonna unplug this harness, and then we're gonna pull out a spark plug and see how the spark plug is. I'm pretty sure, I gotta look at the codes again, but I think it was 1, 2, and 3 were misfiring. I'll have to double check that. But I'm just gonna pull off one of these guys and see the spark plug, see how it is. If the spark plug is good, then it kind of rules that out. If one of the spark plugs is bad, maybe I'll pull out another one and just get 4 spark plugs. I mean, $2, $3, $4 a piece, you know, $12 to $20. Might as well just throw in new spark plugs that'll prevent it from potentially misfiring later down the road. So why don't we do that now? We'll take one of these guys off, undo the harness, and then we'll pull out the spark plug, see how the spark plug is. So let's get into that right now. After undoing all these, this one, number 1, number 2, I literally took this extension and I could undo it by my hand. That's how loose the spark plug was. So I'm thinking, I don't know if that would create necessarily a misfire, but it would act as a dead cylinder, no? Because the spark plug was pretty much loose, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not thinking correctly, but I don't know if that was something. So I just took them all out, checked all the spark plugs, put them all back in, snugged it up, and then gave it like maybe 1/8 of a turn. So made sure that it was tight. So went through each one of them and did that. So why don't we start it up and see if there's still a misfire. I mean, maybe that did something, maybe not. And on this one, the harness, the little clip that's on the side, it's actually broke. So somebody, you could tell right there, it's like they put some kind of silicone right on the edge of it. Here, let me grab the light. Right there on the edge of it, you see that? On the number 3? Right there. To hold the harness in place. So whoever was working on this thing, they really didn't know what they were doing. Because look, you got 2 wires here that are just cut and spliced like, and just wrapped. And this doesn't seem normal. I don't know what's going on with that. That might be a fuse of some sort maybe. But regardless of that. So why don't we start it up and see if that fixed the problem or not. I mean, I don't really know if it did, to be honest. I don't really have high hopes of it fixing the problem. But let's hop in the car. Grab the key right here. Hop in the car. I'm not going to sit there because it's wet. But let's start it up once and see. So it actually doesn't feel like a misfire. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the codes, start it back up, drive it for a little bit later on, maybe tomorrow because it's dark out already. But clear the codes, drive it around, and see if the check engine light comes back on. If it does, and there's no misfire, then that was literally it. Let's move on to the next thing. I don't have my scan tool, it's actually in the truck outside, but I just disconnected the positive battery cable just to reset the codes. So I'm just gonna leave that right now while we're getting this thing washed. Once we get it all washed, I'll come back, just put the positive cable back on, hook it back up to the battery, and then the codes will be cleared. And then tomorrow I'll probably end up just driving it around a little bit and see if the check engine light comes back, and if it does, then I'll scan it and see what the misfire, or if it's a misfire that came back up. But I think that solved it because it didn't feel like it was missing. But before, when I was at the auction, when I first started it, it was misfiring, and then it stopped, and then it came back. So I wonder if that spark plug slowly came undone maybe or something, or tightened back up, or if, I don't know, maybe the heat process, if it expanded the metal and closed the gap, kind of, who knows? Cars are weird sometimes. So regardless of that, we'll do that tomorrow, see what's going on with that. But in the meantime, like I said, we'll get this thing washed. I'm gonna throw you guys back on a time lapse. We'll get this thing washed, tire shine, and a few other little things. And then I'm gonna be going home, and he's gotta get paid, and he's gotta go home too as well. So let's throw you guys on time lapse, and let's get this thing done. So see you in a little bit. we're over here finishing up. Just throwing on some tire shine real quick. But other than that, you know, the bumper doesn't look the best. I'm still debating on what to do with the bumper. I don't know whether if I should get a new bumper. If I get a new bumper from the junkyard, I could do that, but I can't find one in silver. Or I sand this one down, which is gonna take a lot of time, and I don't know if I really wanna put that much time into a bumper. Then on top of that, I still gotta paint it and pay for the paint, right? So, or I just end up leaving it the way it is. I'm kind of confused. So whatever you guys think, throw it in the comments down below as to what I should do with that. Also, the back bumper, I don't know if you can kind of see that, but it looks like they just sprayed primer on this. And that over there, again, same scenario. You know, this would have to be sanded down. And I don't know if I really want to do all that work. So, or what I do is I just end up leaving it, right? It's a 2005, it's a little bit older car. If they say something, I'll just take the price down a little bit and say, hey, you know, it is a 2005, and if you do want bumpers or you want them fixed and painted, then I'll just say, hey, my dad has a body shop, and I'll just send them over to my dad, I guess. I mean, I don't know what other option there is. I do like to make the cars presentable, and the front bumper does not look presentable in my opinion. So I want to do something with that, just not sure exactly what I should do. There it is again. Get a little bit closer to it. You know, it don't look good. I don't like it. And then this right here, this I'll just touch up. I'll just touch this stuff up with some paint. Probably gonna list it at 30. The red one that I had, I sold for 3,300. Oh, 3,200. That had 184,000 miles on it. This one has 176,000 miles. Let's just double check on that. I think it's got 176. So 176,000 miles. Yeah. So 176,000 miles. I think I'm gonna post it for the same price, 3,300, 3,400. Or I'll message the people that already messaged me on the car, right? And see if they're still interested in looking for a Honda Civic, just like the other one that I had. Except this one is a little bit more beat up compared to the red one. So that would be something in their mind that they would think, hey, I want to get a cheaper price because this body doesn't look as good as the other one did, right? So with that being said, this is pretty much going to wrap up this whole video of this 2005 Honda Civic. The little things, you know, bumper, touch up, I'm going to do all that stuff off camera. This is going to wrap up this video. I got a bunch of other videos on its way. And so this took one full day to do. So, I mean, if I could clear $1,000 to $1,500 on this little car that should sell fairly quick because it's a Honda Civic that's 4-cylinder. It's good on gas. It's a good car for a daily commuter, right? Student, whatever the case may be. So, with that being said, if you guys like this video, if you could, go down below, give me a likes up button. If you dislike the video, you can go ahead and hit the dislike button. That'll still help boost my video up in the algorithm on YouTube to help other people view these videos and to get myself a little bit more out there. So with that being said, subscribe down below if you did like this video, and if you want to be notified on any other future video that I release on this channel. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.